I'm Jim Lancaster, CTO with Sages. Defining a disaster is actually an interesting concept in itself, because it could be as simple as, deleting a very important file. I mean, it could be just one file that you lost. It could be losing a drive on a server. It could be losing the whole server, the server having some sort of hardware malfunction and losing the whole server. It could be the building burning down and all of the servers being, lost, or you can't get into your building for whatever reason. And it could be malware. I mean, any one of those could really define a disaster. It really depends on how important that data is to you. So backups have become very, very important because it's your recovery point. And actually, malware is probably the biggest cause of us needing to be able to restore files now. You get hit with a ransomware and encrypts all of the data on your drive. The process of recovering is not paying ransom to the person that encrypted your drive. That's only about 25% effective. It's really about going back to the backup. In the early days, it was backing up once a night, it's since evolved where you can actually do what we call continuous backups and that sort of thing. So what is the right amount of backup for a customer? It really depends on this concept of recovery point objective versus recovery time objective. Those are the two things that are the most important when trying to when it comes to determining how often you should back up and how you should back up. The recovery point objective is how much data can you afford to lose. So for example, if you're backing up once a night, you by default, you're saying that your recovery point objective is 24 hours. For example, if the data were to be corrupted at 23 hours and 59 minutes from the last backup, you've lost 23 hours and 59 minutes because your backup is once every 24 hours. Some don't have the tolerance for that, so they back up once an hour or every couple of hours, and that, or something, much shorter time frame. So that's recovery point objective. Recovery time objective is very important to the smaller businesses and individuals that are backing up to something like carbon copy or one of those type services, where recovery time objective is how long would it take you to get your data back. You spent the last year backing your data up to something like carbon copy and wherever they are, and you've backed up 2 terabytes of data over your little DSL backup line, and you spent 2 years backing that up, and you've accumulated a lot of data. It may take them a week or two to get that data back over that same straw coming down, that same straw of a pipe, internet pipe, down to your system. So that recovery time objective is very important. How soon can you get your data back? A good backup includes both a local component and an off-site component. So you're backing the data up locally, and then it's transmitted off-site to some other location. So if your building does burn down, you can get your data back. It's good to have a local component because you don't have to wait on that data to come back from wherever that off-site location in order to restore from. The best practice is making sure that the people in the office are storing the data on the server, not on their local PCs, because the servers are what are being backed up, not the PCs. Now, the obvious exception to this is a laptop, where somebody needs some data on their laptop because they're getting ready to travel. They want to be on a plane. They need to work on a document on the plane, that sort of thing. So that creates that data is now outside the protection of your local backup. What we're encouraging our customers to do now is to use Microsoft's OneDrive and redirect their My Documents folder and their personal folders into OneDrive and let OneDrive back it up. The answer is it's got a part A and part B. For data in the office, for desktop, store it on the server gets backed up, data gets transmitted off-site. For laptops and traveling users, make sure you're using OneDrive or something similar to it to back up your the documents, the local documents on your laptop. Make sure that they're protected that way. So you set up your backup and you've got it on autopilot and it's backing up. How often do you check it? How often do you test restore from it? How often do you make sure that it's working? Because I can't tell you over the years how many times people have thought that the backup was working and they'd gone a month and nothing had happened. Something had hung up, or for some reason the backup job was failing, and they go to restore and realize that I've got a month old, or most recent good data I have is a month or two old. That has happened more times than I care to think about. We test our backup daily. We're doing random restores off of our data to client sites. We let them tell us what file they want to test on, and we do a lot of things that ensure that not only the backup job is being monitored, but the errors are being remediated, and then we're doing test restores on a very, very regular basis to make sure that what we think we're backing up is actually being backed up, and not only that, that it's actually the backups are good.